What's good, and welcome back to another edition of LSU Live. Man, it's hard to believe, but the season is almost over. We're down to two more games, and what a wild and crazy ride it's been. Not the best ride, not the most enjoyable at times, but definitely an interesting and exciting ride it's been this year. You're down to two games, and bro, it's a lot to cover. We got a lot to cover. We got coaching search. We got ex-wives coming to Baton Rouge to scout out the area. We got LSU coming off, wouldn't say a big win, but a win is a win, especially in the SEC. Coming off a win against Arkansas, so you got some positive vibes going. But yeah, it's a lot to get to, and you got your last home game coming up this weekend against Western Kentucky, and Western Kentucky is 8-2. And if you haven't noticed, in this day and age of college football, anybody can lose to anybody. So it's been a crazy year. It's hard to even decide where to start because I've missed a little time, but it's been a lot going on. But I'll start by giving credit where it's due, and that's to LSU on a good comeback win against Arkansas. Anytime you beat a conference team, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's nothing to just take for granted. So I want to start on a positive note by giving LSU credit for getting up off the mat and beating Arkansas. And I think we learned some things about this team with their interim coach and Frank Wilson, and you got some young players who are heavily contributing to the at least the recent success of the team. And we learned some things about them in that game. First of all, you are looking at a resilient group. Is it ideal to go down 14-0 against a 2-8 Arkansas team or whatever they are, 2-7? No, that's not ideal. But if you watched Arkansas this year, you know that Arkansas, their record doesn't really represent. It's not a good indication of the talent level. Like Arkansas has lost close game after close game. It's one of those teams. I don't know if it's a jinx or it's just a bad team because they find ways to lose. They turn the ball over. It's the same story. You got a super talented quarterback over there at Arkansas. Yeah, you got some defensive issues, but you got some good players on defense too. When you look at the defensive end, you look at the cornerback and Julian Neal. So Arkansas has just continued to find ways to lose games, but I won't let that keep me from giving LSU credit for getting up off the mat, down 14-0 with relatively nothing to play for other than pride. Like all of LSU's goals, their preseason goals coming into the season. This is a team that coming out of the spring, people were talking about playoffs and not just people around Baton Rouge or media. We're talking about the head coach. So at this point, coming into this game, they're 5-4. So what are you playing for at this point? What are you playing for? You don't know who your next coach is going to be. You don't know what's coming next. But these guys show some pride and they show some resiliency and coming back from 14 down, 14-0 at home to get back in the game, then win it. Another trait that this team showed was composure. One thing that players tend to do when they get down, especially at home in the pressure zone, because LSU is favored, so there's no pressure on Arkansas. They're not supposed to beat LSU in Baton Rouge. But the team stayed composed. You didn't see people trying to do too much. You tend to get down and you try to do too much. You try to get two scores back on one play, and that's where you get the guy who's trying to break 100 tackles on one play and he fumbles, or a guy who's trying to run before he catches the ball and he has a drop. And I'm not picking on people. It's just the kind of stuff you do when you're trying to do too much. But LSU stayed level-headed, even keel, played their game, and got back in it. So one of the positives that comes from this is the team is now bowl eligible with 6 wins. And is that like a big goal for LSU? No, but it's ending the season on a positive note. We're talking about a team who hasn't had a coach for weeks now that's going to a bowl. It's a whole lot of programs. It's a whole lot of teams that wish they were going to a bowl. And they have coaches come back. They have returning players. They have stability, and they're in a more stable situation as far as knowing what's up next coming into the spring and looking at 2026. So if you can be bowl eligible with 2 games to go in a down year, it says a lot about the program. So I think that's a positive. It says a lot about the program, and that's one of the things that I think adds to the attraction as far as LSU being an elite job, even with everything else going on off the field. Another positive from this game, the return of Perk. And look, it's not just Arkansas. We heard a lot about it Saturday, how Perkins always shows up against Arkansas, and he has. He's killed Arkansas for years now. He doesn't make plays against anybody else. He makes them against Arkansas. And he did again. 2.5 tackles for loss, sack, an interception. So he showed his versatility, and he showed that he wasn't ready to quit. Perkins, he took a lot of criticism after that A&M game, but he's still focused. He's still playing hard. That's the big point. He's still playing hard. He hasn't given up on the season, even though the championship goals are gone. And he could very easily, especially in this day and age, and I'm not encouraging it, but he could very easily shut it down and get ready to prepare for the draft because that's becoming more and more popular. It's just an unfortunate reality of the state of college football right now. But he's still playing hard, and he's still, I think, improving his worth as far as the next level, showing that he can cover and he can make interceptions, but he can also be the guy inside, be the block inside to make a tackle in the backfield. So Perkins was another positive from this game. I think the biggest positive for LSU, if you're an LSU fan or you're a prospective coach who's considering LSU, you got a young team that is growing up before our eyes. You got a lot of young players. Your quarterback is a sophomore right now. Only playing his second meaningful game at LSU. Yeah, he got a lot of playing time at Mississippi State. It's a different set of expectations at LSU. So you got a young quarterback. You got young running backs, even though it seems like Caden Durham is a veteran, and more on him later. He's still only a sophomore. So these guys got down, they stayed composed, and they made not only good plays, they made smart plays. One thing I like about Van Buren is his willingness to take what the defense is giving them. Late in that game, you got everybody covered, and you don't hesitate. You take off, and you get a first down with your legs, and you don't try to make a touchdown out of it. You don't try to hang in a pocket and wait for somebody to break open for a big play. You take what they're giving you, and you get a first down, and that's a big piece of putting that game away. So it's plays like that show you the growth in these young players. Probably the biggest play or the most impressive play to me was Harlem Berry. And we're talking about a true freshman who dominated at the high school level, scored 1,000 touchdowns in 4 years. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but he scored at will. He's got a chance late in the game to score a touchdown, and he decides to slide and to have the presence of mind at 18 or 19 years old, however old he is. He's a first-year player. That's not normal. So that speaks to your coaching, but it also speaks to your maturity level as a player. To go on about Barry, look, you got a guy who's a true freshman right now playing against an absolutely awful offensive line by any measure. However you want to measure it, however you want to evaluate this unit, it was bad. And you look up at the end of the season, right now he's averaging 5 yards a carry. Averaging 5 yards a carry with nowhere to go. You got to break a tackle to get to the line of scrimmage or at least evade somebody with this LSU offensive line. So it's very impressive for him. And to go on about Durham, it's impressive for him, too, to be opportunistic. Durham was the breakout guy last year at running back. And if you ask anybody, you were expecting him. I know I was expecting him to take that next step this year and being the bell cow of the backfield. I've said it multiple times, all conference level guy, all SEC level guy. And he's battled some things, but recently you've seen Barry take more carries, even getting a couple of starts. And that kind of stuff can cause some guys to kind of go in the tank or sulk, get down on themselves, pout. But you haven't seen any of that from Durham. You saw a guy who was opportunistic. Whenever his name is called, he's ready. And he made one hell of a run to get in for a touchdown in that game. So I want to give him some credit as far as being ready when your name is called and not making the game about him. Looking at it from more of a team aspect and what he can do for his team. So shout out to Caden Durham for that. Again, the Arkansas game, LSU comes out with the win after going down 14-0.